So in this next part, I'm going to create a category by sales. So I'm going to call this, okay, our categories. Okay, so that will be category by sales. So it could be previous year and then both previous year and then current year to date sales. Okay, so now what I'm going to do here is simply to move the my categories into the rows and then the year to date sales into the column. So I have the categories here. So what I need to do is just to move my year to date sales right here in the column. Okay, right here. So these are actually my year to date sales, right? So what I'm interested in, remember one more time, remember again, right? We do have year to date. We do have year to date. Remember that the previous one that we have here, year to date sales, actually has to do with its fixed level of detail, right? And then in the previous part of this visualization, remember we actually dealt with we dealt with actually the year to date as opposed to year to date, so which has to do with this is a level of detail. So when you look at here the quick calculation, you will see that this is actually a fixed level of detail. It's based off the fixed level of detail, and this very one here I actually removed the fixed level of detail. Is just an if clause, right? So I'm going to do the same thing with the previous year to date sales, and I'm going to do this as well with actually the percent change. But because remember the percent change that we actually had previously, right? It has to do with the fixed level of detail, right? It has to do with the fixed level of detail. So if I want to have it with just an if clause, I have to change that, right? So what I want to do here, I want to focus on the top 10, right? Like clearly you can see, like I show here, right here, like you can see on this graph, this is our final visualization we are trying to achieve here. So yeah, I'm going to sort this. Okay, we are going to sort. You just have to actually click right here. It's going to sort in a descending order, right? After sorting this, what we're going to do, we have two options, right? If I want to, actually we can actually use a parameter, right, to to have a dynamic way to have the top 10. But if I do not want to use the parameter, right, I can just actually filter this and pick the top 10. That's it. So yes, I can use here top 10, okay, by field, not by num, but by field. Okay, top 10. I'm going to apply this and then okay. So it's going to grab here the top 10, which is actually what I'm actually interested in, right? And I can actually change this from standard to full to entire view so that it will drop down here, and then we'll see actually what we are actually dealing with here, right? The next thing I'm gonna do here is to have these percentages, for each of them, like the percent change, for each of these equipment of the categories, actually the percent change, right? Like what's the percentage change, from this year comparing to previous year for each of them. And to do that, like I said, the year-to-date sales, right, is not based on is based on if clause. I just showed that previously, right? So I'm going to do the same with the previous year-to-date sales, because when you look up the previous year-to-date sales that we have here, it's not based on fixed level of detail. So we have to change this, because when you look up here again, you will see is a fixed level of detail, which is not what I want, right? So I'm going to create a previous year-to-date sales here, but which is actually based off which is actually not based off on a fixed level of detail. It's just going to be like if flows, right? So we can just grab this, right? This right here, we can just grab that, okay? And I'm going to call it, so I just copy that, okay? What I'm going to do is just to duplicate this, right? I'm gonna use the copy of this, okay? Edit. So I'm going to remove here, okay? This is just a previous year to date sales, and I don't want a fixed level of detail. You can just paste this one right here. So this is based off if clause. We can apply this and then okay. Next thing I'm gonna do is the percent change, right? So I'm going to create something that I will call percent change, right? So that will be based off calculated field. I'm going to call this percentage change, right? Percentage change. And so I have this percent change here, okay? We can apply this and then okay. So this is actually what I need to put here, the percent change on my labels, and I'm going to have the percent change here. So clearly you can see the percent change is not showing up here even if I put it on the detail, and the reason behind it is simply because something might be wrong with the calculation, because this is not a fixed level of detail, remember, right? So we have to go back to the calculation, right, and then see, okay, so this is what happened, because this should be an aggregation, right? So there is something that is actually missing in here that I need to actually make sure I take care of. Okay, it's actually a sum, so I have to put here sum, okay, of previous year to date sales, right? This is very important, so I have to actually use sum. It's very important, right? So we have to change this. So we have to actually change this, so this should be parentheses, right? So this should be actually sum of um, previous year to the, I mean, yeah, previous year to this, I mean, year to date sales, right? Year to date sales, okay, minus, right, sum, it should be aggregation, right? It should be aggregation minus sum previous year to date sales, right? So we have this difference right here, okay, and then we have to divide by sum of previous year to date sales, okay, previous year to date sales. So that's what needs to be done actually. So this is an aggregation, okay, and then it's going to change this completely, so we can remove this no more. So I now go back again to check to pick up the percent change and put on the label, and we should be able to see actually this here. Now the next thing I'm going to do here is simply to actually do this in percentages, right? So we can just go ahead and we can just go ahead and format this, okay, and then I'm going to do this in percentages. So that will be here percentage, right? One decimal, I think I should be fine with one decimal, okay? So we good here with one decimal, okay? This is good, and we can close this right here, okay? So the next thing I'm gonna do is actually to make sure that we apply, a quick calculation here, so that we have this different coloring, right? Whenever it meets a certain condition. Clearly, you can see for computer we do not have any percent change here. This is simply because maybe comparing to previous year, right? We do not have anything the previous year. We only have data for the computer this year, either because there was no sales on computer, or computer were not part of the inventory of last year, and then it comes in this year. So clearly here you will see there is no metric, right? So there is no percent change here. So I'm going to create like a quick calculation that will make a difference between that, right? So whenever we do not have any percent change here, there will be a convention for it to have a different color, as opposed to when we have maybe an increase. So I'll go ahead and create here a calculated field, okay? And I will call it sales performance, okay? I'm gonna call it sales performance. Right, so my self performance will simply be me saying that, okay, if I use a if clause here, if sum, okay, of year to date sales, right, year to date sales, okay, sum year to date sales, okay, minus sum, okay, because this is again if clause, okay, is an aggregator, okay, so sum of previous year to date sales minus previous year to date sales. If it's positive, right, if it's greater than 0, right, if it's positive, it tells us that we have an increase in sales, okay. So I will call it, then so we will call it increase in sales, okay. So I will call it here increase in sales, sales increase. I will actually call it sales increase, okay, sales increase, okay. Else if, okay, so that will be now the opposite side of it, okay. So we can actually have the same thing here, okay. So else if, okay, we're gonna have the same thing here, just that this will be negative. So if the sum of present year to this sales is less than actually previous year to this sales, which is negative, right, then what we will say in this case will be, then we will say decrease in sales, right? That will be a decrease in sales, so decrease. Okay, so that will be upward, a downward trend, so sales decrease, right? And the last thing we want to say here is so else we will talk about no sales. Actually, L we will say no sales, okay, no sales, and that will end this, okay. All right, so that's actually what we have here, right? So we have these three options here, whether you have a positive an increase in sales, a decrease in sales, or you do not have any increase or decrease, which will be no sales at all. So I'm going to actually okay, this, and that's actually this calculated field that I have here. Now I'm going to use this calculated field, and we're going to put it on our color actually. So sales performance, we can have it here on the color, and it's going to actually discriminate everything here. Okay, so clearly you can see whenever we have a decrease in sales, okay, we have a sales decrease, so you see the color is different, right? When you have an increase in sales, you will also see that we have a different color. It's okay for no sales, so I'm going to actually edit, okay, edit the color, and then I'm going to change this, right? So I want, okay, my sales increase to be green, so I'm going to put green whenever I have a sales increase. Okay, sorry, the sales increase, sorry, so this shouldn't be green, this should be red actually. And then my sales increase, I want it to be green. So whenever I have an increase in sales, I want to have a green color. A decrease in sales, I want to have a red. And otherwise, I want to have something that says no sales. I think even this blue color is not quite good for no sales. I would rather go for something neutral that says that, hey, there is nothing happening here. I think this is way better. We can apply this and there will be a change in color here. So clearly you see whenever it's a negative, we have a red. I say, something is happening here. The green, definitely the green is green, right? It tells you that something good is happening. And this is natural. So like nothing is happening here at all. Okay, yeah, I think this is good. Now the next thing I'm gonna do is just to put the ticker and then say whenever it's it's going downward, to have a downward ticker, whenever it's going upward, to have an upward ticker. And yeah, so that's just the last thing I'm gonna add up here. Okay, so to deal with this, we're going to create a calculated field like I said here. Okay, I'm going to call this um, um, I'm going to call this actually category trends. Okay, I'm going to call this category trends. Okay, so that will be a trend category. Okay, um, yeah, something is missing here. Yeah, so that will be our category. Okay, category trends. Okay, now here's how we are going to deal with this. We're going to create an if clause. Okay, if clause, if percent change. Okay, remember we created here a percent change, right? Percent change that we created here. So if percent change, okay, let me remove this. So if percent change, right, is positive, clearly we know when it's positive what it means. Then we're going to say use this upward trend. So we already have a ticker. Remember that we used earlier on these two. So if it's going upward, we're going to use this ticker. So you're going to say okay, upward trend, right? So if it's going up, we're going to use this, right? Yeah. Next, else, okay. So else if, all right, percent change, okay, else if this percent change is negative, okay, if it's less than 0, then we're going to use this downward trend. Okay, so we go ahead again and copy this. Okay, copy this and put it right here. So if it's going down, this is what we are going to use. Okay, paste this. Okay, so else, so that will be the last one. Else, that's the last one. No sales, so we're going to call it no sale. It means none of the two cases, so that will be no sale, and we make sure we match it with whatever we created earlier on when we said no sale. And then I'm going to end this. Okay, I'm going to end this. So that's what we have here. We can apply this and okay this. Now we grab this that we call category trend and we put it on colors. Okay, I mean sorry, on labels. So it's going to change the labels here. Whenever we are going downward, we will see downward. When it's going up, it should be upward trend. Whenever none of this is applied, there will be no sales at all. The next thing I'm gonna do is to make sure we format this, okay, to make sure this color that we have here match with whatever we have here. So okay, so I'm gonna go ahead here on labels, okay, and then click up here on labels. We're going to do two things. We have aggregate category trend and then aggregate percent change, right? So we want to make sure that instead of having this one at the top, one at the bottom, we want to have them next to each other. The aggregate category, the category trend is good. It's good to be on the left, and we want to have this on the right side. So I'm going to make sure I put this on the right side. Okay, we can apply and see how it looks. This is how it looks right here. This is not bad. It looks good. The next thing I'm gonna do is to make sure I change this color. Okay, I want to have this. So here is the problem that I may be having here, right? So because I use just one category, okay, I use one if clause, I cannot change the color. I can only change one color. So if I put say red color on it, everything will be red. If I put another color, everything will have this color. which makes it difficult, for me to be able to do that. And to solve this problem, right, to mitigate this, I'm going to just create if close for each of these categories. When it's up, I'm going to create an up arrow. When it's down, the down arrow. And then whenever the other case will be no sales at all, then I can, discriminate and have different coloring. That's exactly what I'm going to do. If I try to change this color, it's going to have one color. It's not going to be one color for each of the categories, right? So let me cancel this, and let me actually do what let me demonstrate what I'm saying here so that you can clearly understand what I'm saying. If I do that, right, and then I'm going to change this color, let's say to green, right? So what will happen is everything will be green. If you apply this to trend, everything will be green. Even a downward trend will be green. If I change to red, all the trend, the ticker will be green. It will be red. Whatever color I put, they will have the same thing. This is not what I want, right? So I'm going to cancel this, okay? And what I'm going to do again is to remove this, okay, from the trend. I'm going to remove this and cancel it because I do not want to have something like that. So I'm going to cancel the category trend, okay. Here's what I'm going to do. So let me duplicate this, right? I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to change the name. So let's go ahead here, category trend. What I'm going to do here is just to edit this, right? I'm going to edit this. I'm going to go, if percent change is positive, then upward trend, okay. And then I'm going to erase this altogether, right? I need the end anyway. I need to end my if close. So I'm going to erase this altogether, and I'm going to change this and call this up arrow, okay. So this is an up arrow which shows like an upward trend, okay. We can apply this, and then okay, I'm going to do the same thing with the other copy, the copy of it. Edit this. I'm going to call this a down arrow, okay. So this will be my down arrow, and that will be the other case, okay. If okay, percent change is actually negative, down arrow. So if it's negative, down arrow, okay. And then we're going to end this as well. So I'm going to do it case by case basis, okay. We can apply this, and the last case will be no sales. So we can go ahead or up or down arrow, duplicate this as well, and change the name, actually not edit, actually. So I want to duplicate this as well like I did earlier on. So it's to duplicate this and to change the name. So you just go ahead and edit, okay. Go ahead here, you edit, and I'm gonna call this we're going to call this neutral, okay. That will be neutral, okay. So that's a neutral case here. This is a case where that is neutral, no sale at all, okay. Neutral or no sale if you want to. So this will be so if percent change is equal to 0, actually, so there is no up or down. So if percent change, right, it's equal to 0, then we will say no sales, okay. If it's equal to 0, then no sales. So there will be no ticker here. I'll call it then no sales at all. Make sure we match the name that we were having earlier on. Very important, right? So if it's equal to 0, then no sales. So we can apply this as well, and then okay this, right? So now we have 3 different tickers. What we're going to do is grab each and every one of them, the up, down, and no sale, and put it on the label. So in that case, we will be able to down arrow. We can do that as well, and then you will see whenever it goes down, it goes down. And the last one is actually the neutral part of it. We can put it on the label, right, and it will tell us that there is no sales here. So something is going on here, right, for the neutral. So clearly you can see here the computer is not showing up no sales. It's supposed to show no sales. Something may have happened. So let me check up and see what really went down with the formula, right, the calculated field. So let me look up here the neutral. So right here I can just edit it and then see what went down. Okay, so here we are not going to use percent change. I'm going to use the performance that we created earlier on, right? The performance, that's where we use the word no sales, okay. The performance, right, the sales performance that we created earlier on, and the word that we use here is no sales. So if no sales, then no sales, okay. I'm going to call it no sales. So remember we created a formula of performance here, and we call it no sales. So that will be no sales. Sales performance, that's the performance that we use to have this different color here. Sales performance, you see here, right here in on the tooltip, it's showing sales performance here, right? So whenever it's actually going, the color is green is the sales increase. Whenever it's red, decrease, and then when it here is no sales. So that's the same thing we use, and clearly you can see it just pops up here. The next thing I'm gonna do is to do a little formatting here, because I want to have this side by side. Okay, the ticker and the percentage change, I want to have it side by side. To do that, we just go on the label, and then there is a test here, right? The test is going to show us how we can rearrange this to have something much better. I want to have the ticker on the left, and then the other one on the right. Okay, so I want to change the color here, right, based off each of the color. So the up arrow is green. Okay, make sure we have the same color here. Okay, the down arrow, okay, is red. So I want to make sure I have the red color as well. It's red, so I have the red color here. And lastly, this one right here has a different color. I want to make sure we have the same color as well. Okay, color, actually color, making sure. I think we have something like this, if I'm not mistaken. Right, something like this that we have. I hope this matches. Actually, we don't even need a color for that, but anyway, let me just make sure I apply this, and I want to make sure the color are bold, if that is important. So yeah, so clearly when I apply, you will see here, whenever it's green, whenever it goes down it's red, and the last one is yeah, so this is good. I don't think the space between them is really intuitive, and this right now I want to have it dark color. Okay, the other color is not really intuitive. I mean, it can't even be seen. It's not that cool. So let me maybe make it bold and see if it changes something. Otherwise I will change it. So the bold doesn't even change anything at all. Even if I make it bold, it doesn't change anything at all. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just keep it black color. Okay, I'm going to keep it like this. Okay, the dark color is better for that. Okay, we're going to apply this. Next thing I'm gonna do, I want to avoid this space. Okay, I think we are good with the space here, so we do not need a space between these two characters. I think it's better that way. I mean, yeah, I think this is good like that. Okay, we do not need the space here, so I'm going to just avoid the spacing between them. I think we do not need any space here. All right, we may not need any space. I think we're good here. What else? Let me see. I think apply this and see how it looks. Other than that, oh, this is better. Okay, yeah, so yeah, we can add as many formatting as we want, and I think this is good. I don't know, something disappeared from here. I don't know what went down, so let me see if I can fix that. I don't know why something just disappeared from there. What really went down? Up arrow, down arrow, neutral is there, average percent change. So I really don't know what is happening here. Okay, everything is there. All right, so let's keep it that way. Okay, so to avoid any other stuff. So this is good. Okay, this looks good. Okay, guys. Okay, the guy. The next thing I'm gonna do here is just to add on some little cosmetic more. Okay, I wanna have the total sales here, right? On each of the paragraph, and also when you look at the category names, I wanna put a little space between them, so we can just go ahead on the name of the categories here, right? And then put some space in there, right? So I'm gonna have a little space within these names, right? So you can just go ahead here and just format this. Okay, and then I'm gonna put a little space, right? I want to put a space between these two actually. So I want to have some space, right? Let me see. Let me put the names on the left side. So I want to have the names on the left side, and it's going to actually make a little space here. Okay, so that's the first thing I'm gonna do. The next thing I'm gonna do here, real quick, is just to duplicate this axis here. So I want to create a duplicate of this right here. Okay, after doing that, what I'm going to do is simply, because now we have two, right? Now two sum of sales. I'm gonna go on the second sum of sales, and then I'm going to remove all the metrics on it, so I don't need none of that, right? So I'm going to just get rid of all of them. Okay, and this is going to actually be just something like that. The next thing I'm gonna do on this second axis is to make it actually color white. So I'm going to go to the color, I'm gonna turn it white. Okay, then I'm going to synchronize these two axes. Okay, so come down here, I'm going to create a dual axis actually. So dual axis, so we have this dual axis, we go ahead here and then change this into is from actually change this, so this is actually automatic. So you want to change this to bar graph, and this should give us actually. And now the next thing I'm gonna do here is actually to go ahead and this as well. Okay, we want to change this into a bar graph, right? So we are dealing with a bar graph. So the next thing we want to do here is to actually bring this right here, the one that we have, the second one that we have on the left side, and the other one on the right side. The other one goes on the right. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do, we'll see that we have different axes here, and clearly you can see we already have our um the format that we're having before. We already have it right here. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do here is I want to synchronize this. We can synchronize the axis. Okay, this is good. So after synchronizing the axis, right, we can just go ahead and hide this because I don't want to see this. So show header, I do not want to show header. We can just hide this, and I can go ahead here and then show header, and then I'm going to hide this, right? So this is what we have. The next thing I'm going to do here is just to have this matrix right here. So I'm going to go on the second one right here, and then I'm going to tell them that I want to see the label. So what I'm going to do here is just to grab the sum of cells for this one and have it on the label. So I'm just going to press some control or command if you are using Mac and put it on the labels. So it's going to show up actually the labels here, right? It's going to show up actually the labels on the label side of it. Actually, I'm going to change this. I'm going to put this label. Now I'm going to put the alignment of the label on the left side. Clearly you can see the labels are on the right. Okay, so we are actually going down here and put the labels on the left side. So I'm going to click here on labels and say, hey, listen, I want to have these labels on the left side. So go here on the alignment of the, just put the matrix on the left side. Okay, on the left side here, the font actually, oh yeah, so something different. All right, this is cool. And now instead of having Tableau book, I'm gonna have this Tableau, let's say semi-bold. Okay, Tableau semi-bold. I think this is better like that. Okay, and we're going to have it that way. Okay, I think this is cool. It's good looking, right? Now visibly is good, it's okay, so we can keep it that way. And then over here, the categories names, I think is something also that I may want to change, right? I may want to have it in a much different color. So let me format this. Okay, let me go ahead and format this, and I'm gonna have here the field, the category names. Okay, and I want to change this into something, the font, I'm gonna change this to something, Tableau book. I'm gonna have a Tableau maybe semi-bold as well. Yeah, I think this is better, right? Semi-bold or even bolder to have it. I think semi-bold is cool, so you can keep it that way. Um, Other than that, I think this is good. This formatting is fine. Okay, so let's move ahead. Let's move forward with something else. Yeah, I'm going to actually build a customer acquisition. Okay, visualization based off using a bump chart actually. So what I'm going to do here is to actually start off using the order date. Okay, so I have my order date here. I'm going to put it on columns. Okay, and then I'm going to grab the quantities, quantity cells also, and actually I can type it here to find the quantities. Okay, I have all the quantity. I'm going to put it on the rows. Now the next thing is just to change the date here into monthly data, right? So I'm going to use the one at the top here because monthly data here, to change this into monthly data. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna do here is to kind of grab my order my market segment actually. So I have different market. I'm going to grab my market segment and put it on colors. So clearly you can see for each market, there is a line chart. For each market you have a line chart. Next, I need to use the quantity here to change this, from quick table calculation. I'm going to use ranks. Okay, and then I'm gonna go back again, and then I'm going to use here compute using a market. So I'm going to use the market actually, for my computation. So clearly you can see we have this shape that looks like, that bump chart actually. We have the shape. The next thing I'm gonna do is to, to create a duplicate of it. So I'm going to create here. You will see a plus sign that pops up to say I'm trying to create a duplicate. And to do that, you just press some control if you are using a Windows, or command if you are using a Mac. So it's going to create, this duplicate, of this, of this metric, which is actually quantity cells, right? So when you have this, you can actually go ahead and then, make a dual axis of it, right? So the next thing I'm gonna do here is to simply grab, okay, simply grab this very one right here, and this one right here, and then I'm going to put it on the change this metric right here. So the one that is here, the second one, because we have now two axes, right? So the second one I'm going to change because this is on automatic. I'm going to turn it into circle, right? And the next thing I'm going to do is to grab actually the metric, which is sum of quantity, and then I'm going to put it into the labels. So I'm going to put this one right here into the labels. So the label is going to appear here, but that's not quite what I want, right? I want to have this label inside the circles. So to solve this problem, you're just going to click on the labels, go on the alignment, and then say, hey, listen, I'm going to have this at the top here. So we can have them at the top and possibly center it, right? And then I'm going to change also, as you think, I think I'm going to change the font, right? I'm going to make it, this is Tableau book, okay? I'm going to change it to Tableau bold, okay? This looks bolder, and then bolder means, it's kind of good looking, stuff like that, okay? Next thing I'm gonna do here is to simply come down here to click up here, and then I'm going to synchronize this axis. Okay, I'm going to synchronize the axis. This looks good. The next thing, when you look clearly to the axis, you see the axis start from 6, 5. I mean, we have it all the way from 0 upward, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is, that's how the axis is designed. It means actually you are occupying the number 1, you are at the top spot, okay? Number 2 means you are at the second spot. So 5 is actually not good. It means you are at the last spot, the 5th spot. That's not what you want, right? So because number 1 is actually preferable, I'm going to put that at the top, and then the other one comes at the bottom. So I'm going to click up here, go to the axis. I'm going to reverse this because I want to have some sort of reversal, and then it's going to show me actually the first rank at the top, and then the 5th rank at the bottom. Okay, this looks good, and then we can hide this. Okay, show header, we're going to hide this here, and then this is how it looks, and we can also change this into entire view for a much better look at it. The other thing we can do, we can clearly edit, and then remove some of these axes, and then and make it have some sort of good looking. So we can just go ahead here, look up here, and then remove any cells that we may have. We can just remove them and get rid of them. Okay, and we can go to the line here. Clearly you can see this is line. Okay, we can remove all the line, make it none. Yeah, the trend line, we can remove them all. Yeah, the reference line, can get rid of all of these lines, and everything should be clean, good looking, and we should be good to go, right? So this is actually what I have for this video. Now the last thing I'm going to show you is this. When you click up on any of these any of the market, right, it's going to show you actually the breakdown, the trajectory of that very market. Like in Africa, for example, you can see in January, that's where they were out, kind of fourth rank, right? It came down to the last, which is 5th rank, completely down from January all the way to August. But by September, October, they were occupying the second rank, right? November, December, they were at the second, which is pretty good, right? You can also look up to the European market and see how it's going on here. The lowest was third rank, so they were at the first rank, around July up to kind of October, right? And then November, December, by the end of the year, they fell down. And so this is actually, you can see Pacific, you can see Latin America, and so on. So this is actually the trajectory that you can actually look up here based off this. When you are doing kind of presentation, you can just, move around and see how this is actually behaving. So we're going to start off our dashboard here, and the first thing you want to do when you start a dashboard is just to choose the size, right? You want to choose the size, and you have different choices, right? You can choose a range. Clearly you can see the minimum size here, and then the maximum size. Okay, that's what you have up here, so you can set it up the way as you see fit. Another thing you can do is actually to decide on the range, whether you want to use like an automatic size or a fixed size. So you can choose a fixed size. Okay, you can choose a range. A range, that's what we have here. So the minimum and then the maximum, and the last thing is if you want to choose an automatic size. So it is up to you. You choose whichever you see fit, right? So I'm going to keep it automatic so that whenever I need more space, I'm going to have more. If I need less, I'm going to have less. Next thing is here, we can actually come down here and say we want to see actually the dashboard head. So it's going to show us, the title of the dashboard, and we can rename our title here to us. So I can call it actually e-commerce dashboard. Okay, e-commerce dashboard, and this is based off yet. So e-commerce dashboard, and I can actually make this maybe 26. Okay, and make center, change the color to something different here. I can put something that looks like this and make it Tableau bold. Okay, Tableau bold. All right, we can apply this and see how it looks. Yeah, that looks great. So e-commerce dashboard. Okay, and then we are going to enter it. The next thing I'm gonna do here is just is maybe to have a blank. Okay, we have a blank, and then inside we wanna put a horizontal container. Right, we wanna have a horizontal container. Okay, and we want to actually inside this container we want to have our KPIs. Okay, we want to have KPIs, very important. So our first KPI is has to do with sale. We can have it, drag it here. Okay, and then the second KPI is right here, the profit. We can have it here. Okay, we can have our second KPI inside as well, and the third KPI, which is market share, we can have it here. And oh yeah, I missed the quantity. Okay, no problem. So we're gonna have the quantity somewhere here. Okay, before this one. So we have the four KPIs here. Clearly you can see the space. Okay, the space is pretty much good here, right? We have kind of quite similar, space. Okay, we have equal space. So next thing we want to do is actually to, first of all, clearly when you can see, you will see like the name of the dashboard and these, it's kind of mixed up, right? So we want to separate the name of our dashboard from our KPI. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to add a horizontal that is going to separate the, both the name of the dashboard and this. So here I'm going to add a horizontal here, and then I'm going to put it somewhere here, right? This looks bigger, right? So I'm going to resize it, okay, and make it smaller. So come down here, you click, and then you go on edit heights. So we want to edit, okay, we want to make it maybe something like 6, okay, and then okay, it's going to reduce the size. And next thing I'm going to do is to change the background color. Okay, so I'm going to go on layout, okay, and then I'm going to change actually the background color. So clearly you can see the background here. So when you go on here, I can change the color, maybe put something like dark color. Okay, you see clearly, you can see this is separating the e-commerce dashboard from this, and that looks good. Now we know that there is a difference between the two. The next thing I'm gonna do is to come down here for this my horizontal, right? The horizontal that I have right here inside, and I'm going to change the color to have something kind of different, for like everything, for actually my KPIs. Okay, so I'm gonna come down here again, and I'm gonna say, hey, listen, I want to change the background. Clearly you can see the background actually showing here is none. So we want to change this background color and come up with something different. So let me see, we can try out something different, something like this, and see how it looks. And this may look good, right? This background that looks different from the name of the e-commerce sales data. So this is good. That's the background I want to keep. Now there is something, right? Because I want to have this background everything on all the KPIs, but this is preventing me from doing it. And the way we are going to do, clearly you can see the top is kind of different background, but the inside here is different, right? And the reason is simply because there is something that needs to be worked out. So yeah, what we're going to do is actually, like I was saying, is clearly you can see these colors are different. So to get rid of this white color, because the background is already set, so we want to have it, the same color here. We can format here, okay, and we go on here on the shading, right? And we want to change the worksheet of the background from none, from white, I think it's white in there, to none. So this is going to have all the color, for the background, because this is what I want to have. So the same color, for the background. And we could have gone to the worksheet itself. Okay, I could have gone back to the visualization and changed that. So we can also do that over there. And I'm sorry, actually worksheet, and I'm going to change this, the shading to none. And I'm gonna do the same thing here. Okay, we want to format this and change the shading to none. Now we have the background, we have all the background for everything. And next thing, I don't need this for now, so we can just get rid of this. Okay, okay, so we are good with that. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is to add up another horizontal. Okay, I wanna add a horizontal here. Okay, and then inside that horizontal I wanna put my visualization. So I have two left. I'm gonna have this one here, and then I have this second one here. Okay, good. We do not need this, so we can just get rid of this, and then we have something like that. So this looks good. Okay, this looks good, and we can do some a little readjustment here to have something uniform. Okay, great. And I'm going to change also this background because these are KPIs and these are visuals. And remember, the KPI shouldn't be there shouldn't be a space. Okay, and again, this one I can make it floating and rid of it. Okay, cool. Now these are KPIs, right? They are not visualizations, so we do not want to have them taking all the space here, right? So we want to make sure this goes up, right? Yeah, great. So you want to make the difference between the KPIs and our visualization. So we want to drag this up, okay? So they definitely looks like KPIs, right? So some little cosmetic here. I want to make sure I also change, the background color, of these two, right? So I'm gonna go ahead here and we are going to actually do what we actually did earlier on to change the background color here, right? So I'm gonna make sure I change this the background color, of these two, right? So what I'm going to do is to actually come down here to my layout. Okay, we already have the layout, and then change the background color. I'm going to choose a color that is looks kind of a little different, from the other one. So I may choose something like this. I think this looks better, or something kind of different. Let me see. I want to make sure I choose something different. Yeah, this looks better. Okay, this looks better, right? So we keep this one. Okay, and I'm gonna do the same here. Okay, we're gonna do the same here. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is just to do what we did earlier on, right? So we're going to format this, and then we're going to remove the shading. So that's what I'm going to do right here. It's just to go ahead and we're going to do what we did earlier on. Is just to format this. Okay, come down here to the shading on the sheet, and then put none. So it's going to actually have everything all together here, right? So want to make sure you format this, change the shading to none. Okay, this is good. This looks great. Now the next thing I'm gonna do is, clearly you can see the name of each of these visual are kind of different. The color is kind of different from the e-commerce, the one that I choose. So I'm going to update, and we can do that on each visualization. Okay, we can come down here and change it. Oh, we can do it right here. So we can actually go here, and then the title, we can actually edit the title. So I can come down here on each visualization right here, and then we're going to change this into something different so that we have the same color as the dashboard. Okay, so apply this, and then okay, and clearly when you come back here to your dashboard, you will see we should have the same color here. Okay, so that's what I'm working on right now, and I'm gonna make sure I do that for each of my okay. And then the last one, customer acquisition, change this to something different, and we should be good to go, right? And then we have our dashboard here. Clearly you can see this looks kind of better. Okay, it looks way better now, right? Yeah. So next thing I want to do here is just to remove this white shading, because this is kind of messing up our dashboard. So let me go back real quick to the visualization here and see what's going on. So when you look up here, I think there is something that it has to do with the synchronization. I think we failed to synchronize the axis. We will synchronize the axis, right? And I don't even need this anyway, the header, so I can just, and I come back to the dashboard. Now you see it's fixed, right? It's fixed. So if we are done with this, the next thing I'm gonna do here, I think, is to show the legend here. So I will need the legend. Okay, so it's right here. I'm gonna make this floating and then bring it down here. Okay, so let me grab this here and bring it over here, right? Drop it somewhere at the bottom. Okay, this looks good. Okay, so now we know for each color, we know what each of the color represent. The next thing, I'm gonna do the same thing right here. Okay, come up here to analysis, and the legend, and I'm going to grab this as well. Come here, make it floating. Okay, make this loading, and then I'm going to grab it, put it back right here. Let me see what I can do else. I just want to arrange this in single row. uh, okay, so let me make it bigger. Let me make it bigger here. Okay, so this kind of seems good. I don't need this. I can actually hide this. Okay, cool. There we go. Uh, this is kind of setting. Okay, all right, no wonder. Okay, cool. So this is good. So the last part of this visualization, I mean, of this dashboard is actually to add some filters here. Okay, so I'm going to go back here to my sales. Okay, the very beginning here, and then I'm going to add up some filters. I'm going to add like market filter. So we have market here. I'm going to add it up on my filters, and I'm going to choose everything. Okay, I want to use all the market, right? We can apply this. Okay, and other than market, what I want to add up here is also the different segments. So I'm going to find the segment, customer segment, and I'm going to add this one as well. Use everything. Okay, apply. Okay, next thing I'm gonna do here is to actually apply this. Okay, using my data source. So using this data source here, you know. Next thing is, because we are using here, remember we were using here a fixed level of details. That's the calculation that we use here. Because we are using a fixed level of detail, we need to apply it to context. Because remember, when I was drawing, if it's not, that is not going to work. So things context. Okay, so we are going to do here as well, we are going to add it up to the context so that it's going to recognize, you know, the fixed level of detail, because we are using that very level. With that being said, we go back here to the dashboard, right? And what I'm going to do is actually, because I use sales, is to go to analysis like I did before, and then I'm going to use filter. So I'm going to add the market filter here. We can make this floating and then move it up. So I'm going to make this floating, right? And then I'm going to move it somewhere at the top here. Let's put it right here, and I'm going to use it as a single drop down. Okay, I'm going to reduce this size to make it kind of okay. This is good. Okay, I'm going to go ahead again and add another filter, right? The second filter that we added up right here, which is actually a segment, right? Customer segment, and I'm gonna do the same. Okay, make it floating and single drop down. Okay, so click up here, single drop down, and make it smaller, and then put it somewhere here. Okay, this is good. You can reduce a little bit the width. That's good. We don't need this. I can close this as well, and now we have enough space to push this on the right side. So yeah, this is good. This looks great. Okay, so lastly but not least is just to come down here on this and then make this actually my filter, right? So you want to make the market share your filter in such a way that if I click on each of these items, it's going to, you know, automatically interact. So it's kind of interactive. You see that? So this is interacting with each and every one. Clearly, you can see it's very interactive. The same thing goes, right? So if I go back here on market and then I choose a given market, say Africa, so it's going to interact with all of this visualization. If I change this to say Europe, you're going to see here, okay, like category, stuff like that. So it's interactive here. You clearly see this is only Europe that we have right here. The same thing goes here. So let me put it on all. Okay, so this is Africa, but now you can change the customer also to consumer. You can change this to home office and so on. Okay, and I can do it as well for all the market. And the same thing goes here. So you can change home office, consumer. So this is interactive and it's working perfectly well. So that's what I have for this dashboard. I hope this helped, and do not forget to share, subscribe to my channel if you like it, share, you know, with your friends and everyone. Okay, and thank you, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you on the next video.